Today on Garage Athletes, we're with Sam Dancer of the San Francisco Fire. He talks about how he got to where he is now in the fitness world, why he paints his nails, and why you should too. Hey, here we are. So we're back at GarageAthletes.com podcast. We are here with Sam Dancing Dancer. Is it Sam Dancing on Instagram or is it Sam?
It's Dancing on Instagram.
It's
but
Dancing,
it's
that's
Dancer
right.
in real life, and sometimes I'll just say dance.
So wait,
Sam
Instagram
Dance.
isn't real life?
It's not.
So sometimes your name is an actual full sentence.
Just dance.
Sam
It
Dance.
all depends on his mood,
Sam
really.
Dance. and we've got Katie from Flow Elite.
Katie from
So
Flow Elite.
Katie
Hello,
from
hello.
Flow Elite. And what is your last name, Katie?
I just have a first name. No
Just the
last
first name. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's good
You're
to
off the
share.
grid.
That's
for-
smart because you got a
Basically.
tough one.
What?
I have a couple
It's not
friends.
bad still.
I have a couple friends that I just choose to not give any effort towards their last name.
No.
No, yeah,
And
I was
am I
going
one
to
of
have her
those?
write it down
Yeah.
because I didn't want to butcher it.
Well, I haven't had a last name all weekend. They've just been calling
No?
me Nate the Intern.
Nate the
So-
Nate
Intern.
the intern. Wow.
That's right.
I
Sucks
know.
to be you.
A lot of respect.
Yes.
Especially
Obviously.
Nathan Lowe, _lowdown, at _LOEDOWN.
Nate has no problem with
No, I'm all
shameless
about-
self-promotion whatsoever. So we're here at the Arnold Classic. Yet again, we've been here all weekend. Had a chance to run into Sam and Katie, and thought we'd do a podcast with them. Nathan and Sam are like besties now.
Yep.
Been hanging out, broing out or whatever. So Sam, tell us, what are you out here doing today? You're out there in the expo. You've been like grinding like all weekend. What do you got? What are you out here with?
You know what? I'm glad that you think that I'm working hard because the people I'm working with are working far harder than I am.
The perception.
But
is that,
yeah, I'm. It's basically just an appearance with a company called Metabolic Technologies and TSI. They are the people who supply. If you guys might know Blonix. Blonix is a fairly well-known company within our subculture of fitness, and they supply like HMB or Peak ATP, which other companies like Optimum Nutrition or Muscle Tech are using in some of their branded products. But if you want that type of product, you got to go to TSI or MTI to get it, and that's where they do all the research and formulate and such. So I'm working with them. They were actually my first sponsor.
oh, cool. So
I don't think I'd ever done a competition or anything, and just had a friend who knew a friend and was able to, because if you want to spend the amount of time that
So
early
hold on.
on-
Let me back up because you can't just say that and then go past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Oh.
You just said that you got sponsored before you ever did a competition.
Yeah.
How badass is that?
well, like I said, I had a friend
Don't
and
be
a friend. I hadn't done CrossFit yet per se. I
Okay,
haven't done
yeah.
like the Open or anything.
Yeah.
And I was trying to put a lot of time into CrossFit in a short amount of time because I wanted to do well at it. I could have taken my time and gotten good eventually,
Yeah,
but
that's not fun.
I wanted to progress just like how everyone else wants to. You know,
absolutely.
Hey, I'm gonna
I just
start
wanna
cross.
go fast.
Yeah, I want to learn a muscle up in a week, and I completely understand when people join CrossFit, how they take that progression. Where they're like, oh, I just joined last week. I want to learn to snatch.
I'm going to the
clean
games
and
this
jerk,
year. No, absolutely.
muscle
I'm going to the
up,
games this
everything.
year.
Everything.
So I did that.
Just got double
and
unders.
That's it.
And I even told a few people today, like, hey, can you give me some advice as a new CrossFitter? And I even drew out like a graph and like showed them what progression looks like and taking their time and not taking off straight up and so forth. But to regress a little bit and go back to the whole HMB metabolic technologies thing. I needed some support. I was putting so much time in my training that funds were extremely low, and if I was going to get my name out there and put myself up against some of the better athletes in the circuit at that time, I was going to have to travel. I was going to have entry fees and so forth. So they helped me out a lot, and they've been some some amazing support
So
over the years.
they've really helped you out then.
Yeah, we've grown together. They've came out with new product. I've developed myself as a as a human being and as an athlete, and we've gotten to watch each other do that together. So it's been the exact type of relationship you'd want with any supporter.
But you're the athlete that you are. I mean, do you think you wouldn't be where you're at if it wasn't for them? I mean, maybe not this fast, but I mean, you are.
Man, that's so hard to speculate what the trajectory of my life would have been without something that that I've had.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that I probably wouldn't be where I'm at this point without someone like them. They definitely expedited the whole my learning curve, and because I was able to travel and go compete, and I was able to get lifting shoes, and I didn't have money for this stuff, and they would take care of me. I didn't have money to travel. I didn't have money to buy Romaleos to lift in. And
where were you training at?
In Quincy, Illinois.
So
and this was
at your house or at a CrossFit gym?
I was at like the local YMCA during the whole So all my training was like I would do like the open workouts in like a yoga studio or like a racquetball room. I think I did every workout at a different venue. I did one at my high school. I traveled in St. Louis because I had nowhere to I didn't know where to get gymnastics rings from. I'd never done a muscle up in my life.
Yeah.
And then I did one like I said, yoga studio, racquetball court. So
this is post-college athletics.
Yeah, this is digging really deep, trying to figure out who the hell I am and who it is I wanted to be.
And it's got to be so hard coming from a collegiate athletic program where you're given a lot of cool stuff and you get to wear the team jerseys, and then you're out of school, and a lot of athletes go through this, especially collegiate athletes, is then that safety net's just
I was lost, bro.
Just gone.
I was super lost.
Let's back up and talk about that, because maybe a lot of people don't know where you came from. You played sports in college, so talk about that.
I was, for the longest time,
selfie. For the longest time,
no one wants selfies with me. It's okay.
I was
Sean Rigsby.
What a loser.
What a beautiful man.
Did you see that rabid fan that came up during the podcast?
How rude.
How rude.
God, but, where's the security?
He probably has a podcast called something stupid, like Heavy Metal Barbell or something.
Oh, man.
It's actually a great podcast. Y'all should listen to.
Heavy set barbell.
Heavy set?
Heavy set.
He's going to love that.
He was talking about how he's going to be eating a cheeseburger on the scale while he's weighing in.
We were actually contemplating waiting to do this podcast because we wanted to watch him weigh in while he ate a cheeseburger naked.
Naked too?
Well, you got to be naked.
Well, you got to be naked or you're not going to make weight.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's how you weigh in. Even if they don't want you to. It's what I do every time.
You just walk into the room naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you play in college?
I was recruited as a linebacker and ended up moving we ran kind of like an option style offense. So they called me a running back, but I was a glorified guard. Career wasn't anything special though, so we shouldn't really sit here and talk a lot about football, because
I think more of that, from what I understand listening to some of your content in the past, that for you was less about forming you as an athlete and more about forming you as a person.
Yeah,
you check out your life and stuff.
There was a lot of character building from even in the elementary stages of college, where just having a positional change in football, that rocked me, dude. That shook me up. When my whole life, or the life that I like can visualize and remember, like from like third grade on, was football. And I was Sam Dancer, the football player, and any time there was a disturbance in that character, it was shocking, and it was generally some sort of self-imposed shock. I did it to myself because I wasn't really setting myself up for much success. To be a versatile human being, so even like the position shift of going from linebacker to running back, like, threw me off balance, man.
Yeah.
And then,
but you were still dead set. You had it in your mind that you were going to be a football player.
Because I was still
no other option.
Even when football was over, bro. Like I was still I'm Sam Dancer, the football player. Like, dog, football's over. Like,
Reality check.
Who are you going to be now? And so there was a lot of searching and I knew that I'd accepted and understood that I wanted to find out who it is I was and who I wanted to be. And I struck out a lot. And I made, some bad decisions, some good decisions, but nonetheless, all those things are what help kind of formulate.
Those are just as important.
Yeah.
All the bad decisions are. I mean, we always say that. Like there's probably more than important. The things that you screw up on, that you learn from, and that you grow from, and then they probably are going to end up getting you either to meet a person or put you in a position that you wouldn't have been in otherwise, and then that puts you there. Yeah.
And Katie's gotten to, she probably feels like she's just hearing the same stories because she's spent the past 48 hours with me and my wife back in Quincy, Illinois, right before we got here. So, and a very, very similar content as to what we're talking about now. Just even on a basic level, just who are you, where are you from, where'd you play sports at, and yada yada. And So sorry if I'm boring you, Katie.
No,
actually,
I got to hear this story twice.
What was that like at the Dancer household? Was everybody just balancing on surfboards?
Well, let's talk about Katie for a second, though.
What you expect,
Actually,
basically.
let's talk about Katie for a second first, because Katie, we're talking about collegiate athletes. I mean, Katie was a pretty darn good gymnast, right?
I was all right.
I was gonna say she's gonna just say that she's all right. I can tell that she's that type of person because she does not. She's very, very humble. She will not really try to boast about any aspect of her career or her athleticism or her personality. But it doesn't take long for you to figure out that she's at a very high level in every single one of those.
Nathan says that he's the most humble person in the world.
I think we all figured that out already.
Of all the humble people, I am the most humble. Period.
I'm
in game.
Obviously, no.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
So Katie,
intern.
yeah, you're a gymnast. How did you get into Flow Elite? And if anybody doesn't know already that's watching this, Flow Elite is this really, really awesome idea of
great content.
Basically, giving the people that love the sport of fitness and CrossFit or grit or just functional fitness or human performance racing in general, an option to view all these things, because not that long ago you had to go to a competition to watch a competition unless it was a CrossFit Games, and even then you had to get it online through ESPN3 or whatever.
And those streams were always just so frustrating.
It's just
I'd want to watch someone lifting at a meet out in Asia or something, and it was just banging your head against a table. And it's so good that there was a company that was able to go to each of these events and put really, really high quality stuff out there for everybody to look at.
Yeah, so Flow Elite does that. Awesome company. Katie, you work with them, and they don't only just do it for CrossFit. They've been doing it, I found out, for everything. Actually, they were really big in wrestling, and in college wrestling is where they started, right?
Oh yeah. So Flow Elite, technically for that we cover CrossFit and weightlifting. So our mother company is called Flow Sports, and so we actually have 4 different websites: wrestling, gymnastics, track, and elite fitness.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure
is that how you got? Yeah, is that how you got caught up with? Is through gymnastics?
Yeah.
Is that how you found out about this?
Yeah. So Gymnastique is their gymnastics website, and so they've been following me actually. Yeah, right.
That's cute. Gymnastique.
Since I was 12. So I actually used to do interviews with them while I was competing as a 12-year-old.
What was that like?
Was the person that interviewed
still
you
like
named
cake?
Katie?
Yeah, I still like cake. It's like you're
Exactly.
interviewing a 12-year-old. What's it
How
gonna
did
be?
you know?
I still love the color pink.
Hi, Mom.
There's
Can't
nothing
really
that you
update,
can
yeah.
tell me. There's nothing you can tell me that's so important that I need to hear it at that age.
Yeah, no, you're right. Dogs are brown sometimes.
Nailed it.
So, so you got used to being in front of the camera, and then how did that blossom? That's the
Yeah.
word I'm going to use, blossom, into you working with them.
How I blossomed.
Awkward words.
How did you
So-
blossom?
We don't want to hear.
That might be a long story.
Good night, everybody.
Oh man, talk about mic drops.
So, I ended up going to college for gymnastics.
Where?
Finished at the University of Georgia. So I
there
competed
you
there
go.
for 4
Dog.
years. Go Dogs. Yeah. I finished up my master's last July. Ended up getting a job with Gymnastique a couple months later.
Awesome.
Was with them for a couple weeks, and then they started up this Flow Elite site. Offered me the position to head it up, and I took it. Immediately started doing CrossFit, learn by doing. I mean, I don't think there's a better way.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, now
Yeah,
we're...
you can't be part of a company if you don't do what the company does, right?
Exactly.
Smart.
She's
what I'm saying,
she's
you know?
good too.
Yeah,
like
well,
there was
a former
really?
gymnast, I would bet.
we
yeah.
didn't really, and I didn't know her, so I didn't really have any expectation. And like my wife comes over and she's like, "Did you see Katie like working out with that class or doing a workout?" I was like, "No, what was going on?" And she's like, "She's actually really good." Like I was like, I had no clue. She never said like she did any like competitive CrossFit or anything. She might have mentioned once. She's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting into CrossFit competitively."
Yeah.
Like real nonchalant. Like
Yeah. I might go to
it's
the
gonna
games.
be like
whatever.
Yeah, but
If I have time next summer.
she's good.
Yeah.
And
So
obviously you haven't been doing it for that long.
No.
I mean,
I started when I
handful of
took the job
weeks.
in October, and then I'm in Austin 2 days a week to actually do it, so...
Yeah. So
you count
do
the times.
people, when people hear that you're a former gymnast and that you do CrossFit, do you get really pissed off when people ask you like, "Oh, you must be really good at muscle ups," because they don't realize that girls don't do muscle ups in gymnastics?
Well, just gymnastics, period. You know that muscle
Yeah.
ups don't even have a skill point to it. Am I right?
Yeah,
I think
no,
I
absolutely.
I mean, we
right.
don't even do that event, so...
Yeah, the girls don't do
we'll
the rings.
bar muscle-ups, which is kind of like our uneven bars event, but like
Yeah.
rings, we never get on the rings, so
Yeah.
that's something very new.
But we have several gymnasts or whatever, and then that's the first thing they're like, "Oh man, you must be really good at muscle." Like, and the
Oh, yeah.
gymnasts are like, "No, I've never done one."
No, I do get that a
I'm like a
whole
level
lot.
10 gymnast. I've never done one.
Yeah, no, you just got to wait for the 15-4 when it's beam balance.
There you
There you
go.
go.
There you go.
The
Just do a
pommel
dance
horse
routine.
or-
I would love to see Rich Froning do a dance routine.
Oh, that'd be pretty.
I'm the Dancing with the Stars. It was 2 years ago. Dancing with the local Stars champion back home.
Ooh, what
so
did
I
they-
wouldn't mind a dance routine
Did you
either.
teach them how to Dougie? Like, what happened?
Wait. Can you change your Instagram handle to Sam Dancing with the Stars? Because that would be amazing.
That
And then-
might take off a little better too.
The entire content is just you dancing with random people.
No, yeah, separate Instagram.
Yeah, separate
Oh,
Instagram.
That would
Separate
be
Instagram. I'll
awesome.
run it. That's fine. I don't
Okay.
care.
There you go.
Find famous people, dance with them.
Yeah.
$1 million idea
Right there.
So okay.
without their permission.
So I'm sorry. Back to Flow Elite real quick, just to verify. So you've been with them for how long now?
Since October.
Since October. So
Yeah.
not that crazy long. How
No.
long has Flow Elite been a thing? I mean, Flow Wrestling,
Yeah.
Gymnastique, all that. That's been around for a long time. But Flow Elite itself is not that old.
No. Like I said, it's our newest site at Flow Sports. They actually covered Granite Games and Crush Games last year, but they didn't have somebody who was on the site full time. So it was just kind of a group of people coming together in their spare time, trying to head this thing up, and then they ended up bringing me on full time.
And now you guys are like rock stars flying all
You know,
over the place,
no big
just
deal,
living the
but yeah.
life.
Well, I think
So-
what really made it take off was they did this one meet this year. Was it the Garage Games? The Garage
Oh
something?
yeah, something in
Did really
Atlanta,
well, yeah.
maybe. Oh, yeah, it sounds familiar.
Northern Atlanta. I loved it when you guys you were doing the promo. It's like it's going down in Atlanta. I'm like, it's actually like an hour and a half away from Atlanta.
It's going down.
You know, it has a good ring to it.
No, it
so.
does. It's way better to say that. And next year we are actually going to be downtown Atlanta.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey, there we go.
We're working on. I say we. I help with the event. I'm not really affiliated with it, but yeah, it does have a better ring. Sewanee, Georgia, this Sunday. Yeah, it's not the
Yeah,
same.
man,
ring.
everyone
No,
wants to go to
definitely
Sewanee.
doesn't sound his game.
So, all right. So back to Sam. You played football in college, wanted to be a football player, and then that didn't work out. And then you had a buddy who had this company, got you started. You were sponsored before you ever even did like a kipping pull-up. Not
Definitely
quite that.
before I ever did a muscle up. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, seriously, I was
Yeah.
joking.
No,
like
definitely,
seriously,
100%.
That's
Or a
crazy.
double under.
Yeah. And then so how have you gotten your niche? What would you say your niche is now? Just because the hair and the ridiculous strength?
Yeah, the strength has definitely
The
helped
rings.
out quite a bit.
I'm assuming you are always strong, right?
Yeah,
And, I mean-
like in college, I was slinging a lot of weight,
Yeah.
and I was a big guy too. I was like 270 in college.
Was your
And-
training a little bit weird and different and closer to CrossFit when you were doing football, or did you?
I've
do
been doing like
basic
a
power
West
cleans?
Side style of training since probably 2006 maybe. So, you know, the strength background is very well in place, and it's not going anywhere.
So there we go. You were talking about like this periodization or where you've been. Like you wanted to come up really fast, but you put in the hours long before.
There's been a lot of work done.
That's the difference between you and the other people that want to come up fast and it doesn't work for them, is because they sit at a desk or they've done nothing physically their entire life, and they learn how to do a thruster and they want to go to the games without any type of strength conditioning background, without any type of aerobic base whatsoever, and then they end up hurting themselves because they don't have that good base, that foundational that thing where so you had that.
So I want to comment on that actually. And it's been something I've kind of noticed, and it's also been written on, just talking about being elite or being a specialist and the amount of time that takes, and they'll say like, you know, 10,000 hours of doing something or 10 years of doing something, and I've noticed that even if you don't have a strength background, but if you have a background in anything, all right, and you know what it means to put in a lot of work over a long time, and you have ended up developing a specialty that would quantify you as, you know, being in this elite category, that right there usually, you might not have the right muscles for it, but by having the right mindset for it already puts you, you know, so many steps ahead of so many other people, because there's a huge chunk of people that don't even know what it means to be dedicated to something for that amount of time, and which is why like so many people love CrossFit, I think, because like you're constantly jumping around. You never really have to dedicate yourself to one thing.
And I think that's probably why training ADD is so prevalent in CrossFit too. Everybody wants to, well, this is working, so let's go do something else. let's do 12 different programs. I'll do one on Monday. I'll do another one on Tuesday, and I'll be at the games in a month. Like
you always hear,
and like, but it does. It comes down to consistently.
There's a lot of. I think there's a big character type thing involved. Like not necessarily like the accumulation of volume that is giving you, you know, a specific physical ability, but I think it might have more to do so with the development of that character and the mental aspect of being able to truly dedicate yourself for you know, through time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the longer you do that for, the more you can kind of find some tiny little things to work on. I know you've been doing it for a long time, but now I see you, like we were joking about with the surfboard, you're doing some crazy eclectic stuff, man. Like have you seen this?
Is that just to have fun and not get bored?
No, that is actually I said we weren't going to talk about my football career because there was not much there. I was injured the majority of my career, so I was in the personal training room a lot.
I was really curious about the little surfboard thing.
So I learned a lot of things, and I kind of have like an innovative mind, so I can look at something that's basic and turn it into something that's very intricate, and so with a lot of these rehabilitation tools that I had to use in college, looked very similar to that endo board. We did very similar practices, not on a roller, and I'm not doing 360s and stuff.
Yet.
Still learning.
But
this summer.
But we use it regularly in our gym now. We're using the endo board and a stability ball, and I'm working with endo board a little bit to help kind of develop a protocol for a lot like maybe the crossover symmetry type system that people can use to help become more mobile and stable throughout, you know, the hip, knee, and ankle and lower back and such. So and also being able to kind of help people define the difference between mobility and stability, which I feel like there's a lot. Like some people think that they're not mobile enough to do something, and which in fact that they're just not stable.
They are, but yeah, they're just not stable enough in that position.
and what stability, really is. Some people think like they're not strong enough to be stable when it just might be a simple neurological fix, and those you can get those really, really quickly. You can develop motor patterns very fast if you're conscious about what you're doing. And so the endo board has been terrific, especially for our more damaged clientele who maybe has a lot of neurological issues, and they haven't really built any sort of neurological relationship with areas of our body that are difficult to do that with.
Just getting used to positions that you need to be in on a regular basis. I mean, a lot of people come through. The most crazy adaptation that I find is just having people in a static hold, rather if it's weighted or not. Like somebody brand new, you see such a huge improvement. Put them in a position that they feel uncomfortable with, and let them get comfortable with that position. And then all of a sudden, wow, in a week, like it's a completely night and day.
Yeah. You can do some amazing things in a very short amount of time on a neurological level. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be all this. I'm a big advocate for strength training. I think it's very important, and people need to be doing it for multiple reasons. But you can generally fix a person up pretty damn well without them ever even touching a weight. And not that I'm advocating they never touch a weight.
Yeah,
but
definitely touch a weight.
But yeah, touch weights, please.
Touch weights. Lots of them.
Is it just because it's so
Don't just touch 'em.
individualized from client to client?
What else?
Fondle them.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Thanks. We're gonna have our own podcast.
Yeah,
Y'all
we're
do
gonna.
yours.
You know what? We're gonna have 2 podcasts. First time ever. So, Katie,
Let's go.
We were, but what we were talking about was because you do train a lot of people, and you do have to find those sometimes neurological fixes, and then some of them are mobility fixes, and you have to be very creative with it. I remember seeing, I don't remember where I saw it. I've seen a lot of your stuff.
Thanks.
One of your
YouTube
clients was
stalks you.
having trouble being mobile with his wrist, so he actually built like lifts, like a weightlifting shoe for this guy's hands,
Yeah.
and he slid the hand in.
We're calling it the. We got a lot of people that messaged us about
It was
that.
really cool.
I could not believe how many people ended up sending us emails like, "Hey, where'd you get that?" and yada yada, and where can I get one? And me and Jenny did some math on it, and like maybe we should make a couple of these.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're calling it the teardrop, and it's a terrific. Yeah, we got this guy that's doing some of our programming. And I think he used to be like a motocross guy. He's got a really banged up wrist, and yeah, so we made a lifting shoe for his wrist, and now he can do handstand push-ups pain-free. And
So does it go on like a glove or like
Kinda.
gymnastic straps?
yeah, it's got a little strap that goes right over the top of your hand, and if you imagine your hand being your foot, your fingers being your toes, and the heel being the base of your palm where it attaches to your wrist. We lifted that up, and basically we can kind of fake dorsiflexion.
Yeah.
That we pretty much know he's never going to be able to get. We can improve it a little bit, but I mean he has plates and pins and rods and things in there that really
And
kind
how
of
old
get
is
in the
this guy?
way of. He's probably mid-40s or mid-40s.
Yeah.
So, and
You're
That's
not too
really
pliable
cool.
at that age, anyways. I mean,
Well, now that we know that it's still early stages, I'd like to announce that I'm making a weightlifting shoe for your hands.
I actually
and I'd
just
like to
No way.
we just
like
no.
to-
I copywritten that. I copywrote that just now. So you
and
can't
a
do
lot
that.
of people said that too. They're, hey man, you need to patent this, and it's exciting, and it's very, very, it's a very great idea, and it's going to help a fair amount of people, but the market, we're in a small enough market already.
Yeah. It's
Like,
a niche
just
market,
a
a niche
niche for a
market.
niche.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I want to spend a couple $1,000s on patenting something that might only make me a couple $1,000s.
Yeah. But you never know, man. You never know.
You do never know, but for the time being, we do want to help people out. So we're gonna we got a lot of foam, and we're gonna make a bunch of them and get them sent out.
Well, as long as people are getting stronger, I mean, really, it's you can't adulterate it too much with the money. As long as people are improving, that you've done your job.
That's our primary concern, and we often fall prey sometimes to things such as what's going to be the monetary value of this endeavor. How much money can I make from the teardrop? And me and my wife,
gonna do well.
We
if
often,
that's all you worry about.
we do. We screw up a lot, and we do fall prey to that. But oftentimes when we put our conscious effort towards, are we servicing someone? Are we helping someone? Are we making them better? It ends up, downstream ends up turning into something that ends up benefiting us.
Yeah.
So if we put that emphasis on other people, it ends up coming back. And there's some old proverb type stuff that what comes around goes around type things, and if you do that type of stuff, it'll end up coming back twofold. So and it's definitely it's been true so far.
Yeah.
But we screw up, we mess up all the time. We're humans, and we get caught thinking about the wrong things sometimes. So I don't want to make it seem like Sam Dancer and Jennifer 100% all the time, the most loving, awesome, do it for everyone else but themselves type people.
60%
I'm definitely
of the
going to
time.
advocate for that.
I was about to say,
I got to watch them at their gym for 2 days, and they have an incredible mobility program for their clients. It was awesome to watch them. So
you need to,
absolutely are.
I think now, if you're running a CrossFit gym, you should probably focus on that more. Like, when I got in, I've been doing it, sad to say, a lot longer than you.
Yeah, I haven't been.
Right?
It's been a short amount of time.
I've been doing it the better part of a decade now, off and on. And it was nothing like it is now. Like, you need to focus more on those small things to get people in, because when I did it, it was more of a very, very, very cult feel. You came in, it was trial by fire. Nobody really knew what they were doing. There was really no emphasis on anything other than there was a foam roller in the gym, and it was just a different type of clientele. But now you've got people that actually do have legitimate issues, and that you've got to take care of them, or you're going to be in trouble. You're not going to have
I'll tell you what, in 2 more years at our gym, and these are very generalized data that I'll give you. In 2 more years, I would be willing to bet that CrossFit will be 20% of our clientele, whereas it's maybe 80-ish% right now. And at the rate that we're progressing with, we try to take over where PT ends. So where physical therapy ends is where we try to step in, and that's kind of like the market we're going after right now. And it's been so awesome. Talk about being gratified by servicing someone.
Yeah.
It's when you with the CrossFitters, when you take someone who's previously been an athlete and they get a muscle up, people think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Take someone who's maybe fell off of a building, broke both their legs, shattered both of their ankles, and they have no ass, no quads, no nothing, and you're teaching them to you're getting them back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's when that's a good feeling. But yeah, I think in 2 years, 20% of our clientele will be CrossFit, and the rest will be meeting people where they're at to help service them, and it's going to look a lot like meeting people after physical therapy.
Yeah. Bedridden to the ball field.
Yep.
That's what I've always said.
That's crazy.
That's what we want to do.
That's such a cool concept, and I'd hate to take away from it, but when you mentioned just then that in 2 years we're doing this and they're doing so much, you were just over there, and you're doing stuff like this, and you're training grid, how are you balancing all of that?
Yeah, you gotta pick and choose a little bit. Some things are, and I told Katie this when she was, I tell a lot of people this. A lot of people ask me hey, what do you when you go into the CrossFit Games as an individual, huh?
Yeah.
When you gonna make your big run at that? And I don't know. I'm never I am not afraid to admit that, say this and make it public. I will never 100% focus on making it to the CrossFit Games. That will never be the primary emphasis of my life. And as soon as I do that, I will. If I ever do that, there's going to be a massive trail of hurt. in suffering, because there'll be so many areas of my life that will end up being neglected, and I've gotten to a point. I've gotten to
such an impact.
What's that?
Where you're making such an impact.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if I were going to focus on just going to the CrossFit Games, my marriage would suffer. My other relationships that are important to me would suffer, and the relationships that are important to me are generally, and I'm sorry guys that we're not always around each other, but it's the ones that are around me at that moment. So Katie got to see that. She was around me for that time, and when she was there, I loved her, and I appreciated her, and I tried to give her every bit of my heart possible. But as soon as Katie leaves, Katie's gone, and there's someone else that I need to focus on, and there's other people that need my attention. So, I'm not the type of guy that's going to. I'm not going to text Katie all the time. I'm not going to call Katie and check in on her. But when she's there, and when you guys are here, like,
she was bummed out about that too. She constantly texts me wondering, like, man, Sam has not texted me.
Yeah. See what he is. Yeah, you might be able to change me, but so I'm never going to just focus on the CrossFit Games. There's way too many other areas of my life.
Should you? I mean, like, because
some people,
is that even what you want to do?
I don't ever want to make it seem like if you're just focusing on the CrossFit Games, that's your number one goal and priority, that's bad. That's not necessarily bad.
But like, you as an athlete, is that even something that you would that interests you? I mean, because you are, like we talk about, being a biased. Obviously, you are on the stronger end of the athlete.
Honestly, yeah.
You would have to change as an athlete.
I all right, and that's going to come back in a second. I would love to just sit here and focus on myself and go to the CrossFit Games. I would really enjoy that. But if you think anything is just about yourself, your ass is sorry, man.
Yeah.
Because that's the last thing that anyone gives a shit about.
Yeah.
Is that word I. It's such a disgusting word anyway.
Yeah, when you start talking about yourself, people stop listening.
So so yeah.
Unless you're on a podcast,
I'll be honest.
Then people listen.
I'll be honest, and I would love to do that. That would be really, really awesome. And things are really easy when you're by yourself. Because you get to do things your way, and you have no interruptions. But that's not the way we're designed to be. So, me not being in a relationship with my wife, would that be pretty easy? Yeah, that'd be really damn easy. But that's not the way shit goes. I'm married, and that's a commitment, and you're going to have to pay the price, and you can't be selfish anymore. So,
hopefully you pick someone that's absolutely worth, and you don't have an issue with it at all.
And would I love to maybe have my own gym where nobody else comes in but just me and my training buddies? Yeah, I would like that. That'd be a lot of fun, and we'd get a lot of stuff done. Training would be great, but that's not the way it goes when you own a gym and you run a business. Like, you're servicing people. Like, the last person that's going to get to train is you.
Oh, yep. Absolutely.
So, the human in me, I'd love to.
You think Grid caters to what you want to do, in your life better than training for the CrossFit Games, just because of the season? That's
a really interesting question. Right now, we're in a very interesting time with Grid, where you could take some of the more, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but you could take the better CrossFit athletes, and they're going to make terrific Grid athletes.
But it won't be like that soon.
But in a couple of years, you're going to start seeing, this is what I predict, you're going to see someone like myself end up being the generalist in Grid. Because
it's going to go even more biased than it is now.
Oh,
I totally agree. I think most people agree with that.
I mean, you look at like teams that are signing Dmitry Klokov.
Yeah, I can't thruster 425. So
I can't either.
Yeah.
Wait, can you?
It's a shame.
But
am I the only one here that can?
Oh wow.
Weird. Awkward.
That was good.
She's like, that's so awkward. You boys have fun. I'm gonna go over here
and hang out with Tatiana.
Actually, I was.
Oh man, you missed Tatiana's list.
Was it awesome?
Oh my goodness.
Man, just
She's
warming
a
up.
monster.
Just putting
warming up.
170 kilo over her head and just not
killed
even
everyone.
breaking like gaze.
No.
Yeah.
She dropped
never
the weight
smiles,
and
though.
did everything but just like bucket the crowd.
It was unreal.
If she had a mic, she would have dropped it.
Yeah, definitely. And she would have dropped the bar with a little more acceleration if she wouldn't get 3 reds for it.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I think bar slam.
Bar slam. That was a very subtle John North reference.
Yeah, that was very subtle. Much like John North.
He's a very subtle guy. Thank you so much, Nick.
I almost got my glasses out.
I'm getting blinded. Well, no, he didn't move it far enough. So
He's getting
the talent has the sun in
Can we
his
get a
eyes.
diffuser? Can we get like a big diffuser
Hey, what does
up
that
here?
make me exactly?
You
Well,
are facing the other way.
The beauty.
Doesn't apply. Oh, thank you so much, Nick.
If you were a
I'll take
bit
it.
taller, you should just go
you
like
are
that.
the man.
So no, I totally agree. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I like the idea of, hey, the team has to be varied, but not the individual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the way it should be, because I mean, as awesome as CrossFit is, as high level of athletes as these guys are, to be able to lift the weights that they do at the games and still have the endurance that they have, they're still not going to be quite as good at the things that at each one individual of those, just by design, you're not going to be able to be that. So to be able to get somebody like Dmitry Klokov or, Tatiana, who knows, to come and do those things, and then get an extremely high-level gymnastic female like Katie.
When's it
to
happening?
come in and do it.
Hey, put a good word
When's
in
it
for me.
happening?
Yeah. We talked to the Gridcast guys.
Give me a year.
Yeah, they get
He
changed.
was like, I'm going to San Francisco, so I don't have to be away from Sam, and he won't return my texts.
Exactly.
So that being said, how does that reflect your training? Are you trying to go even more in one direction, or are you still
Right now, no. I'm staying general, and I think a part of me will always train in that fashion.
Yeah.
I like being athletic, and I like doing being able to do lots of things, and I think that's what makes someone athletic at the same time. Your ability to do more things at any moment is kind of definitive of that. So but if I have to specialize to continue being in the grid,
You'd be okay with that?
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? It's
I don't mind being stronger.
And weightlifting is just so
but
fun.
honestly, I don't think I'll have to. I think, like I said, I'll end up being the generalist.
Yeah.
And whereas in CrossFit I'm the strong guy.
Yeah.
And in grid right now I'm the strong guy. But I have enough general skill even at this level now. Plus, because everyone's going to kind of need to be strong in grid.
So do you think that's going to segregate the two sports even more, though? Because right now it seems like obviously they're two different things, but it does seem like there's very, very high crossover between the two. And I was talking with a buddy of mine when we were at the games last year that's on the grid team, and he was saying, he's a really good CrossFitter, and he said he thinks people like him in a couple years are going to be obsolete.
They will be in a few years.
And so then what is that going to do? Is that going to be they're just going to go their separate ways, and you're going to see two different crowds, or do you still think the fans of CrossFit are going to carry over and vice versa?
I don't know. Look, dude, we're at the Arnold right now, bro.
I was about to say, the best thing about the fans of CrossFit is that they just love fitness, period.
We're at the Arnold,
Yeah.
dog. Like, everything is here. Everything is here.
We were talking about that. It's amazing that there hasn't been a riot.
So-
Yet. Oh, it's coming.
Yeah, you think it's coming?
People on stilts.
So,
People on stilts.
like, whether they completely separate or not, like, this is beautiful, really, when you think about the concept of the Arnold.
Yeah.
We have everything that you could think about. There's people painting upstairs.
Yeah.
There's people playing ping pong. There's people fencing. There's hula hoops. There's jump rope.
There's pole dancing.
There's
I
pole
did
dancing.
see the
Last
pole
night.
dancing.
Did you
So
go last night?
and
I was competing.
and
You
we're
missed
all
it.
together.
Yeah.
We're all together.
Damn.
So
It
like
is
whether
really
they
cool.
separate or not, like it doesn't matter, because at the end we're all together.
But we were talking about that. Like, I think we were saying Arnold is like the only one that could bring all that together, because this is the only place I can think of that has that broad of a spectrum, and like it's awesome. It's amazing. But I think something needs to be done to do that more. I don't know what it is.
Arnold, I bet he's probably that's probably really cool for him to think that you think he's the one that's bringing all this together, in the same way that like maybe a client thinks that I got them their first muscle up. I didn't do the muscle up.
did.
Yeah.
I didn't, Arnold didn't physically bring you here. There's something more.
He actually sold me my ticket.
Yeah.
He
did.
showed up
He-
at my house.
Yeah, he was like, "Look, Justin,
And I didn't
you need
even
the-"
I didn't even
Horrible
want a
Arnold
ticket.
accent.
He made me take it. And then he put me on it. He put me in the
But-
car.
There's
No,
something-
you're right. You're right. No, but
There's
it's
something far greater than than Arnold. There's something far greater than me. That got you the muscle up. It's all the people. Man, the people are what make the connection. So, whether we're in the same building or not, like we're gonna find ways to be involved with one another. It's just it's nature.
well, it is cool to me that it can be done, because I know that a couple years ago, CrossFit wasn't involved in any of this, and and obviously it's a huge part of it now, and to be able to see people doing pro wrestling in one room, and in the same stage that the day before there was strongmen there, and then pole dancers, and like you said, painting and doing art upstairs. I don't know, it's definitely cool. This is my first time here, and I'm I want to say starstruck. I've definitely seen some people that I was like, oh man, I can't believe they're here.
Ronnie Coleman with a GoPro strapped to his head.
That was amazing.
It was incredible.
He was just walking around with a GoPro strapped to his head.
Just talking to fans.
Yeah,
It's the
just
coolest
talking to
thing ever.
fans.
I can't believe I missed that.
And he just had a hip replacement. Well, not just, but he had a hip replacement.
But
He
I
was
think, it's not very far-fetched to think that maybe next year, in a couple of years, you'll see, an Eleiko grid rig in one of these rooms, and it's going to be venues like
I hope
this
so.
that allow grid to really expand, get people from all walks of life checking it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, what
are
else?
we running
what
at
What are
here?
we talking about? We're going. We got about 45 minutes in.
Oh man,
I didn't realize it was going that long.
I feel like I know you so much better.
It's
now.
going well.
Yeah, I think we got about another 3 hours in us. I think we're
Yeah,
good.
let's do it.
Indeed. Yeah.
I got the
Don't-
I got the
nowhere to
C4
be
in my
till
bag.
Sunday.
Katie will tell you, like, I could talk forever. Like the time that
It's
it
a
took.
good thing.
The time that it took. I wonder how long it took comparatively me doing my interview versus my wife doing the interview. I bet I took. Jenny probably took 45 minutes. I bet I took
Yeah.
close to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Is that just? She's just very on the point.
I can run off, dude.
That's good for
if you
podcasts.
if you
It
let
is-
me,
Oh yeah, it was great for
I'll
our
go.
interviews.
I'll
I
go
mean,
forever.
It's gonna make
And
for a great video.
You can always edit it.
It probably would have been
Exactly,
even
yeah.
worse if my wife wasn't there. Like, because I would
Was she in the background,
I could feel it. Like,
She
dude,
was.
I could feel her just like burning through me. Just like, Sam, answer the
Sam,
question.
Sam,
Yep,
answer
a
the
couple
question.
times she did chime in and say that. Oh, okay.
Answer it.
So where is she this weekend? Does she come with her? She
Is
back
she's
home?
back home in Quincy.
Okay. Taking
I
care-
brought her here
hold the
last
fort
year,
down.
and I might have described it a little differently than what it actually is.
It's,
Because
it's a bunch of people smearing their spray tan on you while you're trying to walk through the expo.
I should have said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I said
Don't
was,
you love it?
I was like,
It's pretty low
because
key.
she knows she knows it. Like,
not a lot of stuff going on.
I was like, it's how like there's an like a Wadapalooza, how they have all the vendors there. I was like, it's kind of like that, and
Totally different.
Yeah.
just
I mean,
just a little.
I should've.
Literally on steroids.
the people, literally, the people are about the people watching level is about the same. It's about as
It's
good
good
people
times.
watching
Really?
level,
Oh
but-
yeah, it's 5 times easily more fun than going to Walmart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I you can go
Is
walk
that where
across-
you go for fun?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of
If
fun.
Walmart had an open
Pretty
bar,
boring. Not me, man.
that'd be it right there.
That's what heaven's like.
Not me. Not
Oh
about that
man.
life.
So, where do you live at? It's Quincy,
I'm in Quincy, Illinois right now.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Is it like? Man, I don't think I've ever been there at all. And-
Usually-
and you train. Where's the grid center that you train at?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. So how
Relatively.
long are you out there? Is that one of the teams that actually you go out
Yeah.
as a team to go out there?
Yeah.
So how long are you out there? Because we're talking about like being away.
Well, you know what? Things are evolving, so I don't know that I can, actually answer that question as to how long I'm going to be out there. I could tell you how long I was out there last time.
Yeah.
Right after the games, from Ohio, we literally packed everything up and took all of our stuff with us to the CrossFit Games. After the CrossFit Games, we just stayed out in California, and then we stayed there until, I don't know, I think like October-ish or something like that.
Oh, man, yeah.
Or I think May, June, July, August, September.
It's a big chunk of the year.
Something like that. It was ish. It was a couple months. That's for sure. It was a good time.
Was that average with everybody else?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. I was just gonna ask what is that average like for people to be out there like on your team?
For our team, that was the standard.
Yeah.
Not for other teams though.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
and I think that it was pretty obvious what happens when I think the 3 teams that all live together.
Yeah.
Were the top 3 teams.
That's where I was going. Yeah, I was saying in fitness, when it can be so individualized, how important is it to spend time as a team and train and get that time together, especially since grid, with the exception of teams at the games, is really the first time that fitness has been made into a team sport.
I think it's it's nearly a must.
Yeah.
And I say nearly because it is plausible that you could derive the right character, which, and if we wanted to talk about that, which is why I think our games team was so good, the type of people who are willing to do whatever it takes for each other to win.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they don't get along or like each other, agree with each other, or you could think of any negative thing. Not that our team was riddled with negativity for the CrossFit Games, but we did have we had 6 people, all right, who didn't spend a lot of time with each other. We did not know each other very well, and it's hard to even explain, what that looked like and what happens when you don't really know someone. Well, yeah. I guess you guys do know, because you've done it before. We all have done it. Yeah. When you don't know someone,
you get to know them.
You're not gonna dive headfirst across the line.
If you do
at the end of the race.
If you don't know someone, generally, what do you do? You formulate opinions, right?
Yeah.
And perception. And 9 times out of 10, it's freaking wrong.
Yeah.
All right. and so therefore, you end up treating people in a way that their character doesn't really need to be treated. So we were all not bad, but we were all treating each other the wrong way because
I love Sam Dancer.
because we didn't know each other.
That's the second podcast in a row he's done that.
Rabbit fish.
Chuck. Yeah. Chuck from C&K, shout out.
You could get a team together for grid that didn't live with one another if they were the right characters, but I think if you put yourself in a far greater position to be successful if you just
last season showed that it was a much better decision to do that, though,
yeah.
and not to have them individual, because the teams that didn't train together didn't do nearly as well.
Yeah.
Maybe there are other factors, but I think that's a big part. It's a team sport.
Well,
right?
I mean, I would even look at, before the season happened, I don't know that there were too many people that looked at our roster and was like, that's a really good roster right there. Like, you have some tremendous athletes, and I'll admit that our organization didn't believe that. They knew they had.
They believed in you guys.
They knew they had the best roster in the league, but I even looked at our roster and I was like, man, this could be a rough year. And but those thoughts were changed immediately when I saw how the character that was involved. Very, very quickly did that changed my perception.
Yeah. So talking about living with each other, I was talking to Brandon and Jessica about this before and talking about them. So what is life like out there with the camp? You guys living together, training together, and doing all that stuff. Does someone need to start a reality show?
Bro, totally.
Oh boy.
That's an
Someone
idea
should.
right there.
We thought it probably was going to happen anyway, because we didn't really waste a lot of time worrying about, we care and we wanted the league to be successful, but we didn't really spend a lot of time trying to dig into what's going on with the league and such. We were focused on ourselves. And let me start by saying life was sweet out there. Training was hard. and it was we had a very a good regimen and a great routine, but and training was very, very difficult, and it hurt. Man, it hurt a lot. But when training was over, and,
You're still in San Fran, baby.
Bro. And we every day we go
margaritas and tacos.
We go lay by the pool for a couple hours, and then after we lay by the pool, we go play golf, and after
Life's hard.
Life was.
So I'm
great.
assuming you had somebody
Are you
take
good at
care of
golf?
your business while you were gone.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
How are you at golf? Are you pretty
I
good
used
at
to be
golf?
really, really good at golf, but golf's one of those things, man. If you don't do it, you'll lose it real quick.
So going back to life at the grid camp.
Yeah, the firehouse.
Yeah, the firehouse.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you didn't have cameras in there, because I would just think that sounds like The Ultimate Fighter or Total Divas or any
Real
other
world.
reality show. Yeah, this is a perfect setup. Have you heard any talks about that for this season?
I've heard rumors, and they're only that. None of which have probably even come from any sort of reputable source. But there's definitely been at some time it's been mentioned before.
Because what I'm saying is we're going to come to y'all's house and do it anyways. I'm just going to film. I'm going to bring the camera, and we're just going to...
You're more than welcome, and I can't imagine that there would be a better team than ours, because we have some very interesting folks.
Yeah.
Like Drew Canavero, and everyone's so different, and I don't know. You got the Aussie Ben Gerard, and then Drew Canavero, who's got so many personalities, and he's a very gentle man, and he's very intelligent and intellectual, and he's got all these voices, and then you got Gerald Sasser, who nobody actually knows is like the biggest nerd in the world, and then you have these guys, and then we have like Cheryl Brost, who's like the house mom, but she's still like, she's a freaking blast, bro. Like Cheryl
So like
is
literally every walk of life.
No.
Do you guys actually have like a homeless person that's on the team?
God,
That would probably be.
That sounds like a
maybe?
sitcom.
If Drew, I bet Drew's kind of like the
hobo of the team.
Yeah,
The hobo of the gym.
like you
Not
never
homeless.
know where he's living, and like you never know when he's gonna get his next meal.
He's
Oh,
the
look
guy
at
on
what
the
he's
couch?
eating.
Are you saying he's the guy on the couch?
Yeah.
Joey
Oh,
from
yeah.
Friends.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Joey from Friends.
He's like
Yeah.
he's the last guy to go to bed, and like, dude, this is making me excited to get back together with everyone. We had so much fun.
Well, yeah. So speaking of that, when does camp start again?
I don't really know. I think we're kind of at like the mercy of NBC. So
Okay.
whenever I guess they decide they want to do it, and I stay away from all that stuff.
Yeah. So you're not even in that mode at all right now.
I'm not.
You're in like work,
I'll
family mode.
I'll call like Craig and Paul and Jeremy, and just maybe just tell them I love them, and say hey, and they'll do the same. Just check in with me, but I'm not actively. Again, it kind of goes back to where I'm, how I'm finding balance in my life, and it's by focusing on whatever I got going on at that moment and the people that are with me at that time too.
Yeah.
So, if I were to spend additional time trying to figure out when camp was and such, it would throw my balance off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, like you're saying, when you're with someone, you're with them, and you're 100% with them.
Yeah.
And then when they're gone, you have to put your energy elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's just like that in all aspects of life. If you want to be really good at what you're doing, you need to focus on the thing that you're doing. And if you're worried about what's happening in July or August,
I lose my intimacy if I do that. If
Yeah.
I start to drift and I start to become disconnected, I lose that intimacy, and I think that's really, really special when you're speaking of the firehouse.
Uh-oh.
We were just talking about Drew.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Where's she at?
Chrissy got the pleasure of staying with us for a couple weeks at the firehouse. Was that not one of the best times of our lives?
It was just so much food and activities.
Think of all the activities.
There's so much
much
room.
room.
So much room for activities.
But yeah, that's Chrissy May. That's Drew's girlfriend. She does the whole if it fits your macros type stuff,
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
donuts and deadlifts, and very much like Drew, very, very, very intelligent, very intellectual, ton of personality, one of the greatest human beings I've gotten the pleasure to spend time with. They both have opened up my eyes and helped me mature my character in essence quite a bit.
That's cool.
Quite a bit.
That is cool,
Yeah.
man. It's really cool to have that chance, and it's all because of the sport. It's all because of somebody going out there. You wouldn't have a chance to meet any of these people and be here.
Isn't
if
that
it
crazy to
wasn't
think
for
about?
that. Yeah.
That's so
Because,
wild to
like-
think about the relationships and that I've made, the people that I've met, that if without these types of avenues in my life, I would have never.
So Katie's going to go. I think we're just.
I actually still have a job here.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
guys.
As of right
we'll close
now.
up in a little bit.
Yeah,
but
don't worry about us.
I want to finish on that because that's something that I love talking about. So Katie, thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming out.
Guys.
Is there anything you want to plug real quick before you go?
What?
Flow Elite.
Log on and watch right now. Donnie Shankle's going to come up. It's
Oh
going to be
my
great.
goodness.
Yeah, we got to get done.
No?
I want to watch Donnie.
I would literally
Gotta
drop
watch
the mic
Donnie
right now, but I might not
Shankle.
Why
be
aren't
headed
these-
back. So.
Are these modular?
Yeah, can we just pick
can
them
we
up?
just take
Be
We
these
should
with
talking
us?
while
podcast
watching.
while we're in there.
And just
Alright,
like Donnie
love you.
drops the
Love
weight.
you,
Donnie,
Katie.
what are you feeling right now?
See you, dude.
Bye, Katie.
So cool. So yeah, we'll finish up here, I guess.
That's funny. The gymnast is the first to go watch the
Watch the
Olympic
weightlifting.
lifters.
Yeah,
no,
really.
I was
And the
I was
three-
Meanwhile, like
the
the three
three
weightlifters,
meatheads
yeah.
are like,
I was so into what you were saying, and then I'm hearing the cheering. I'm going in the back of my head, going, "What is going on right
yeah,
now?"
I hope it's. But yeah, no. Basically, like it's so amazing that the sport of CrossFit, grid, whatever, everything that's happened. This has happened within like pretty much a decade. Like this didn't exist, at least not to any extent. Say, I mean, CrossFit's over 10 years old, but this didn't really exist 10 years ago, and it just to think that, and to think what we're doing now, and there are people that are making a living off of it, and it's amazing. It still blows my mind. So,
dude,
and
I
it's-
have friends who are 60 plus years old. Like that.
That's
like
awesome.
I would have never.
because of that
ever
one common bond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's amazing, dude. I have friends who are gay. I have friends who are old. I have friends who are beautiful women that are my age. That most people would like say. People ask my wife all the time, like, man, doesn't that kind of bother you that he's like he is training other women like your age, and they're pretty, and and I'm a very tactile type coach, hands on, and I think that's so beautiful that like I have all these relationships with people that you would normally never have. Like normally it's just you and your kind of homies, and now I have friends who are 60, who are men and women. I have friends who are my age. I have friends who are my wife's age. I have younger friends. I have friends who have different sexual preferences. I have friends who are different colors, and like that is so exciting, bro. That gets me so pumped up to think about like how many types of people that I have in my life who are helping me develop and become a better human being. They're aiding in that maturing process of my character. And
I feel very blessed, and it's obvious that you do too. It's really cool to find someone that's that excited about that, because I mean, no, we're not making millions of dollars, but you could make more money elsewhere.
I feel like it.
But it does. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And it's got to be pretty cool when you say, "Oh, hey, that old guy? Oh, weightlifting." It's just that little contrast right there. It's like, oh yeah, no, that's my training buddy.
Yeah. We were just talking about you. We've got a buddy of ours that
Juan Zepapula.
Zepapula, and he's a
60-something
world
years old,
champion,
snatching
62.
120.
And I mean,
120 kilo.
I wouldn't know him if it wasn't for Coffee's Gym and going there and snatching and clean and jerk with him. And the guy is just this.
Guy's a
he's
monster.
so interesting and so amazing. And
Wears an American flag headband, and he squats heavy every single day.
and only types and caps.
Only types and caps. He's yelling all the time.
So
we're just starting to kick off the whole no bull, pro love type, anti-bully type campaign called Tough as Nails. So if anyone would ever be interested, and it's just as simple, it doesn't have to be all your fingers. You know, I don't want to freak anyone out too much, but that at the same time, that's kind of the goal.
I was going to ask you about that. I know
so
that's your thing. I didn't know if it was.
If we could kind of get people to start maybe painting their nails a little bit,
I'm gonna paint my nails tonight.
to help promote the Tough as Nails campaign, which is it's just about loving people, and it's not like an anti-bully campaign. It started as that, but I learned really quickly that I don't want to be against anyone. I want to be with everyone. I want to love everyone.
Yeah,
so
not anti anything.
It's not anti anything.
Yeah.
It's no bull, just pro love. And
do you have fingernail polish on you?
I usually do, but I'm gonna start to have to do it now, just so we could do something like that right away.
Yeah.
And the goal is just to do something that's maybe a little bit socially abnormal, in hopes that it might draw some attention. So it is an attention-getting type thing, in hopes that we get the opportunity to share a message that could potentially change the trajectory of someone's life in a positive way. And maybe you don't get to share a story, and maybe it's just sometimes I'm in a rush, and someone might ask me, hey, why you paint your nails? And it's just I go, I love you. And it's just an opportunity for me to tell you that I love you, and just create a distraction, so we can maybe get an opportunity to grab someone's heart. So if people wanna, I don't need shout outs, I don't need anything like that. I just want you to try to paint your nails, and I want you to try to create a distraction that's going to give you, and it's going to be awkward. It's going to be really, really hard for you.
My wife likes to paint my toenails, but I've never done the hands.
It's going to be hard, because you're going to not only feel weird, but then you have to remember what we're trying to do with this platform, and it's to tell someone that we love them, and we want them to know what it feels like to be loved, because that's the only way that this will ever work, is if people actually know what it feels like to feel love. So, and it's hard to do that. It's hard to tell people that you love them if you don't know them, and it's going to be hard, because it was hard for me to, when I started doing this, and people ask me, hey, why you paint your nails? And I'd be in this just for fun. and I knew why I was doing it, but I didn't have the balls to stand up and tell people why I was doing it. So if you start doing this, understand that you might not be able to do it right away, but it will be a conscious reminder for you to come from that place of love, which generally, if you do that, you make some really kick-ass decisions, and if they end up being bad decisions, you'll feel a hell of a lot better about them.
About the bad decisions.
So come from that place, try to share this message, and we're just trying to get this pro-love message out. So
do you have like a platform for that, like a website, or?
We're working on it right now. We're just operating off of hashtags, and it's hashtag Tough as Nails, hashtag your color, your cause. So awesome. If people want to jump on that camp, it would mean a lot to me, and it's not necessarily for me, but it's definitely the message that I would prefer to share.
That's cool. I actually had no idea that's why you painted your nails, and I didn't ask, mainly because I didn't want to be that guy, because I'm sure everybody asked you. Now I feel like that guy because I didn't ask.
Wow. Dude, either way, it doesn't matter. This is it. This is why I paint my nails. The opportunity. We got it. I got it in.
Yeah.
So all that other stuff, it's great. I had an absolute blast talking to you guys even before that. But I feel the whole purpose of my existence is to get this one, hopefully, this one tiny little shot to do what just happened.
Yeah.
And just to tell you guys I love you.
Awesome.
We love you too.
We love you too,
Thanks,
man.
dudes.
We love Katie.
Yeah.
Katie's gone.
Or Phantom Katie.
Katie is gone. Where's Katie?
Where's Katie?
Can't find her anywhere.
All right, man. Well, as always, go to garageathletes.com, sign up for the newsletter for more podcasts like this and more videos. And, man, that's
Instagram.
it. Sam, thank you one more time.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you on the next one, guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Peace out.